that intuition, or is that just the point of why you're at the workshop? We hope it is. My name is Michael Hathaway. I have a weird accent called Maine, and which is New England, so if I do sound a little foreign to you, it's an integration of Maine, Boston, and New Hampshire. We now live up in the White Mountains, a beautiful section of New Hampshire. If you'd like to correspond with us, I have nothing to sell on that, but if you would like to correspond with us, our website is whitemountainhypnosiscenter.com. And this is workshop 21031, Hypnosis and Intuition. Now this is very interesting when you talk to a room full of people that are very intuitive, because if you're in the hypnosis field, I really feel that a lot of you are already maximizing your hypnosis and your intuitive abilities. How many of you are new to the convention this year for the first time? Raise your hands. Wonderful. Good. Well, I'll kind of give you an overview of how I got to this point briefly. And it takes me, besides having a weird accent, what happens is I talk, I kind of get in the zone, so you kind of bounce in and out. And if you listen to Will Horton in the last hour, he's really eloquent in his speaking. I guess a good part of my life I've always lived in that situation where I was arguing with my own feelings. I don't know that any of you have ever done the same thing, but for a good part of it I would always walk across the street so I didn't have to speak to someone, or I would be always influenced by these things that were coming in that I didn't really understand. And to tell you the truth, I really believe now that each person is born with a special gift. And that gift lots of times is a curse. What happens is you have abilities yourself that are different from anyone else in the world. And if you know that, they can be great gifts that you can work with other people to help them. However, again, because you do it so well and so naturally, lots of times you just figure everybody else does the same thing. And you get frustrated when other people don't, or you're going to be more not to share what you know because you figure people already know it anyways. My major field was in education, in music. How many of you are involved in some sort of an artistic field? Just raise your hands. That's the other amazing thing that I found. A lot of hypnotists have some sort of an arts background. It seems to really go with the flow. And I found a lot of closet musicians. These were kids that really had great talents, but the minute that anyone else heard them play, they just stopped because they didn't value what they did themselves. Since I got out of education, I found with the adults that many of them have great talents and great abilities, and they themselves do not understand what they really have. And you know what it is when you talk to someone, you know, if you know something they don't know and you tell them something, they're probably going to resist what you're telling. So you almost have to drop a hint to the person so that they can discover it themselves, so that they can begin to use it lots of times without even really knowing that they've started using it. Now, I got into hypnosis about 1980, and I actually was hired to play piano for a stage hypnotist. And that was probably the closest I ever got to being hypnotized in my entire life, was talking to that hypnotist before I went on to play. And I started feeling really weird, and I had to pull myself out with all my powers because I figured I was going to be the main show up there. And I broke the spell.